Nobody saw this coming. Ecowas has decided to lift sanctions over countries that were sanctioned. You remember Ecowas? Ecowas, these countries in Africa, okay, they all come together economically and politically to help each other as African nations. They suspended a few countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Guinea to a lesser extent. Now Ecowas has decided to lift sanctions over Niger, lift sanctions over Mali, lift sanctions over Guinea, just not Burkina Faso. How shocking is this? Absolutely shocking. And why is this happening now? At a crucial time when Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso has come together as countries to create their own alliance, the Saharan Alliance, where they're going to be sort of like one country together. So these three brother countries coming together, they're aspiring to have their own currency and stop using Ecowas currency or CFA franc. At a crucial time where they're taking a very different direction, Ecowas finally says, you can come back. That's crazy, isn't it? Okay, thank you very much. This is your first time to come here. I appreciate you. I am Zack. I don't know who you are, but we're certainly going to like each other. This is one big family where we talk about many different subjects. And I'm sure if you stopped here, there's a reason why you did that. Click on the button. I think it's called subscribe, so we can see each other very much often. Okay, let's get to the point. Ecowas has turned around with this decision. They have probably sat down and thought about it long and said, you know what, I don't think we're winning here. Because let me tell you, Africans in general, if they're punishing you for something and they see it working and you're suffering from their punishment, they're just going to sit there and laugh. When is he going to break? So these people of Ecowas have been waiting for the longest time. I think they realized that these countries are too hard-headed. You know what? They're getting too clever and they're getting habituated to the sanctions. Because usually when you punish somebody, they always say don't punish somebody too long. When you punish somebody too long, they get used to your absence. They get used to the punishment. They find ways away from the punishment. Now, trust me, as soon as a person finds a way away from your punishment or finds a way to survive your punishment, you're done. They'll never, ever need you again. Okay, so how did this start? Former Nigerian head of state, Yakubu Gowon, I don't know if you remember him, one of the pioneers of Ecowas, okay, one of the founders of Ecowas, is actually the last who's still breathing, still alive. Yakubu Gowon was one of the founders of Ecowas. He called for the lifting of the sanctions on coup-hit countries ahead of the emergency head state meeting. Let me give you context, fellas. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. These countries are very interesting. They come back very much often. They had been, for the longest time, colonies of France. And for the longest time, they felt like France was taking advantage of them by using their resources and minerals for its own benefit. In the meantime, not necessarily paying the amount of money that's necessary to the value of the products. Let's give you a simple example of Niger. In Niger, France paid about $0.80 a kilogram of uranium. In the same token, he paid the same quality of uranium at $200 from Canada. At Niger, they paid $0.80, less than $1. To Canada, they pay $200. So you take that formula, you apply it to all these other countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, just to name the few. Now, people of these countries have had enough. So we can't deal with France anymore. They colonized us for the longest time. They left us in 1960, saying they're leaving us in the name of independence, in the name of freedom, when many African countries got freedom from Europeans. But the freedom was apparent, not real. Because in reality, many people believe France still had these countries' economies by the ball. Yeah, they controlled everything. They say you're economically free, but in reality, they got you by the balls. So they manage your currency. They print your currency. Imagine telling you you're free, but your currency from your country is going to be printed in my country. But you're free. Oh, by the way, you can't just come in my country. You need a visa. And for you to get a visa, it's not very easy. So many of these people felt like, no, this is enough. And in the case of Niger, for instance, Niger is the biggest producer of uranium in the world. Lots of it they have. Uranium is what you need for electricity. In some cases, nuclear electricity, you need uranium for that. They use uranium for treatment of cancer as well. So it's a special, precious material, precious gift that this country has. Now, French people have access. This is Niger, obviously. They had access to Niger's uranium almost for free, you know? and they would import it, export it to the country. They had so much uranium for their own electricity, they started exporting electricity to other European countries. In the meantime, people of Niger themselves, many of them at least, slept in the darkness because there was no electricity for them. And they were forced to buy electricity from Nigeria. Yes, this is Nigeria. This is Niger. This is Nigeria. These are two separate countries, but they have the same name, very similar name, because of the river Niger that goes through both countries. But people across the borders are same people, cousins. They were separated during colonialism, when Nigeria became a British colony and Niger a French colony. Just imagine, you have your cousin going to get some water from the river, and by the time he comes back, saying, no, you can't come here anymore. You are Nigerian. This is Nigeria. You're not in our country anymore. Crazy, isn't it? Great stuff. Now, get back to the point. President Yakubu Gowon said to Ecowas, he's one of the pioneers of Ecowas, he said to Ecowas, you need to stop. I don't know if I explained to you why these people got sanctioned. The reason why they got sanctioned at the first place is because they had enough. They say, we do not want European influence in our countries anymore, especially that of France. So what they did was they toppled the president. It wasn't democratic. It wasn't through elections. They toppled the president and they took power by force. So as per ECOWAS rules, because you've done that, you are an illegitimate government. So we are not recognized. Instead of cooperating with these new governments that clearly just want good things for themselves, ECOWAS blocked them from exporting their meal, exporting food, or any other thing out of the country. Now, let me give you another context. Why do they need ECOWAS to export? Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Do you see them? Look at them well. Where are they? They are inside the continent. They are not next to the sea. Why is it important to be next to the sea? It's important because then you can export and import your stuff through the sea instead of using airplanes. Why is the sea better? Because the sea is cheaper than using airplanes. Now, because these countries still need to trade and they have no entry to the sea, what do? They use these neighboring countries to export and import. Now, these neighboring countries, unfortunately, are all part of ECOWAS. And ECOWAS is 15 countries that came together supposedly to help each other. But in reality, they are more aggressive to each other than any other thing. Now, people of Burkina Faso said they do not crumble in front of intimidation because ECOWAS did nothing when they were attacked by terrorists numerous times. ECOWAS never put the army together or any resource in order to finish terrorism in these countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. But how come ECOWAS is very aggressive and reactive now that these countries have decided to topple their president? Now, some people believe many presidents of ECOWAS are just puppets. Okay, they're just dictators. Many of them at least. And the reason why they reacted, because let me remind you, Niger, after toppling the president, triggered ECOWAS to get men together to go and bombard them, to destroy them. But this didn't come to pass, especially because while they were threatening Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso said, if you dare put your foot in Niger, you're going to be declaring war against Mali and Burkina Faso. Then they thought twice. They're like, oh, dude, we thought we were 7 or 12 around Niger. Now Mali and Burkina Faso are going to get involved. It's going to be complicated. So they stopped the project. So Burkina Faso said, why aren't you active to fight terrorism in our countries? But you are especially active and reactive when we decide to topple our president, because our president are not good people, apparently. Now, many people believe the president of ECOWAS, the leaders, are dictators. They were doing that to intimidate not only Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, but also to discourage any potential idea from their own countries of people standing up against them. Because if it happens by the neighbor's house, chances are, if you don't do anything about it, you don't help the neighbor get back to power, you're going to be next. That was the actual purpose, many people believe. Now, get back to the point. Yakubu Gowon was a former president of Nigeria and great personality when it comes to African unity. Now, he spoke out loud about the situation.
It saddens me to learn that ECOWAS is threatened with disunity following the announcement by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, 3 important member states, of their intention to leave the community. The impact of such a decision will have far-reaching implications for the ordinary citizens who have been the major beneficiaries of regional integration. Therefore, on behalf of all the founding fathers of the community and myself, I urge Ecowas authority of heads of state and government, including the leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, to put aside their differences, and reunite for the peace, stability, and prosperity of our region.
He said to ECOWAS, sanctions are supposed to be temporary, not permanent. They've been there for years now. Lift the sanctions against Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea. So let me give you context to this. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger again said they are done with ECOWAS. They don't want to be part of, those fake African brothers. Fake brother. Africans like to call each other brother or my brother, my brother. Brother with his actions. If you're really my brother, then when I'm suffering, you should be there to fight with me. If you're really my brother and I'm attacked by terrorists, shouldn't you bring help so we can fight terrorists? If you don't do it, you're not my brother. Why would you call me brother? Are we born from the same mother? No, we're not. So your brotherhood should be based on actions, on how you show me you my brother. Now, the only country that have shown brotherhood so far is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, because they've stood for each other. They say, if you dare attack one of us, you're going to have issues with all of us. It's not brother, hey, my brother, but in the meantime, I'm trying to slash your throat. Okay, so this president says, please allow these people to come back. He was a military leader from 1966 to 1975, and the last living witness to the creation of ECOWAS in 1975. He put pressure, and now ECOWAS reacted. ECOWAS unfroze assets of Niger in West Africa, because when they sanction you, most of the time they freeze your assets, and sometimes they sell it or they use it for themselves. Crazy stuff. I don't know. They also suspended border closure and ended no flight zone for commercial flight from and to Niger. So basically, they enclaved Niger. Niger was like Mali and Burkina Faso are countries inside the continent. Now, these other countries refused them access to the sea. That's how they wanted to punish them. The goal was to put pressure on them like that, hoping that the population, everyday civilians, get upset, get angry, and come down the street. I don't know how correct that is, how pure that is. Because if you're going to sanction, then sanction people that are actually doing the issue. You don't sanction civilians. That was the procedure. But it failed drastically. Because the people of these countries are all together. They are together with their leaders. So they went through difficulties together. They don't care. It fell drastically. Now, it's very simple. I always say it. When you put to the side many other people, most likely they're going to come together against you. If you have the tendency to intimidate people, to threaten people, to have some kind of way of talking to people, eventually they're going to link up against you. This is exactly what happened between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Now they threatened, they said, we don't want to be part of ECOWAS anymore. And now they're coming back. Oh, no, you can come back. You can come back. Niger, you can come back. We're opening the borders. Then they went with Mali as well. Mali, ECOWAS said on Sunday it was easing sanctions imposed on Guinea, Mali, a day after announcing a similar decision for Niger, another country ruled by military. So they impose these countries to get back to civilian ruling. They don't want soldiers as president. But these soldiers are the people that were courageous enough to actually fight neo-colonialism. Okay, they want their country. They want to have their own currency. They want to have the freedom of their own land, to get the resources to benefit the people. Unlike many civilian presidents who are mostly there for their own personal interest. Examples are numerous. I'm going to take one example for you. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, 35 years old, young man. All due respect, Mr. President. Okay, this man said he doesn't want his salary as a president because he's a soldier. He said, pay me as a captain in the military. Don't pay me as a president. How many civilians can do that? Not many. Because in Africa, generally, once somebody's president, it's most Africa, not every Africa. Most Africa, when somebody's president, he want to be rich. That's a great opportunity to reach not just himself, his best friend, his best friend's girlfriend, his cousins, his nieces, niece's boyfriend and stuff. That's what they do. Sad. So again, fellas, ECOWAS has eased the sanctions, have opened the borders to some countries for Mali, Niger, and Guinea. But strangely, Burkina Faso's sanctions have not been eased. They are very strong. Burkina Faso, very, very punchy how they express themselves. Let me know how you feel about this. Do you feel ECOWAS has changed its mind because of the president, ex-president of Nigeria, speaking Yakubu Gowon? Or do you think ECOWAS have changed its direction because they are threatened by the fact that these countries don't give up? They're actually ready to create their own little ECOWAS without ECOWAS. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. I know you are very, very intelligent, extremely capable people. Remember, it's not just about me talking to you. It's about all of us learning together. We're waiting for your comments. God bless.